I'm going to tell you something I usually don't say out loud. About 18 months ago, my life looked completely different to how I wanted it to. I was going through separation, marriage breaking down, 2 children involved, all the weight that comes with that. Then I had a work injury. I slipped on some ice, damaged the lower discs in my back, created 2 bulging discs causing sciatica. Suddenly I couldn't train properly, I couldn't work properly, and the only thing that kept me sane, which was lifting, I couldn't do. It was taken away from me for around 4 to 5 months. At the same time, I was delivering shopping in the cold, moving huge amounts of goods every shift, getting paid just enough to get by, and coming home with almost nothing left in the tank. I remember thinking at the time, this isn't where I'm supposed to be. Not in a big dramatic breakdown, existential crisis way, just the honest, quiet realization that this isn't it. So I made a decision. Not a loud one, not some big announcement, just I'm going to start building something. Even from here, even like this. I started painting again. Not because I think or thought it would make a whole bunch of money straight away, but because it was mine, something nobody could take away from me, put a rotor on, structure or control. I started training again, very carefully after the back injury, light weights, slow movements. But then it became more serious. Strength is something which I've been pursuing since all my life, but seriously since 2020, knackered the back in 2025, and then the middle of 2025 I began to take it serious again. I think I needed proof that I could still do hard things, and then I started this channel, or I rebooted this channel, should I say. Talking into a camera that has a squat rack, a canvas, a bed, partition walls, all that I've built myself to make it look less like a place that I live, more of a control center, because that's essentially the reality. I film these videos in the same space that I sleep in. I paint serious psychological artworks in the same room I do consultations for clients in. I'm building a PT business, a YouTube channel, an art practice, and I'm being a present father, all from one room, while working delivery shifts so the bills get paid. And here's what I've learned in the process. Ultimately, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to sort your life out. And nobody is coming to look at your situation and say, here, there's the perfect head start. The start you get is the one that you build yourself. And from the inside, it's not glamorous. It's painting partition walls at 10 p.m. at night after a long shift at work. It looks like making a YouTube video after a long shift when you're tired. It looks like uploading something that gets 10 or 12 views and then doing it the next day again anyway. It looks like showing up for a consultation in a space that you're still building. It looks like trying to build something meaningful even when your life is still a bit messy. But here's the thing. Recently, I hit 177.5 kilograms on the bench press. It's an all-time PR, close, 2.5 kilos away from a lifetime goal of 180. I'm the strongest I've ever been. After the back injury, doctors and musculoskeletal teams told me I would never lift heavy again. That back injury should have set me back for years, but it didn't. I've got a painting series which I genuinely believe is worthy of being in a gallery. I've uploaded every day to this channel for over 30 days now. I've had people come through the door in my little private studio for coaching, and none of this existed 18 months ago. And none of it appeared all at once. It's built in the gaps, the early mornings, the late evenings after work, in a room with a squat rack, a canvas, and a bed behind a partition wall. I'm not saying any of this because I made it. I haven't made it yet. I'm saying it because I'm in the middle of it. And I think the middle is where most people quit, because the middle is awkward, the middle is slow, the middle is, still having to work the job while you build the thing. The middle is having low views, still having messy rooms, still having doubts, still being tired, still not having proof that it's all going to work. But this is where the real work happens, Not at the starting line, the middle. This is the part nobody claps for, The part nobody sees. The part where you're building something before the world agrees that it matters. So if your life doesn't look impressive from the outside right now, but you're trying, do not dismiss that. If you're building from a small room, a bad job, difficult situation, a broken relationship, injury, financial pressure, debt, or just a version of your life that doesn't feel like you yet, just keep going, keep building. You don't need perfect conditions to build. You just need to stop waiting for someone to hand you the better start. Stop waiting for permission. Start where you are. Use what you have. Build in the gaps. Make the room work. Make the time work. Make the first rough version. Then keep improving it. Eventually, if you keep showing up in the middle, it starts to show. The room looks different. The body starts to change. The work starts getting better. The opportunities start appearing. The person you're becoming starts becoming harder to ignore. And I think maybe that's the point. Maybe you don't build a new life by escaping your situation first. Maybe you build your way out from inside it.